or manage your personal finances? Your search stops right here. Join Mukonke from Inside Partners Africa every Tuesday at 10:20 hours on the Dalama Insights Business Show, a program that gives you the best practical, actionable insights.
There's a good morning and welcome to the Dalama Insights Radio Show on Radio 4. Leslie, and of course, this morning we are talking about how to make a financial roadmap. We're joined by our financial expert, Mukonke Mkonkela from Insight Partners. Mukonke, it's a good morning and welcome to the show.
Lovely morning, Leslie. How have you been?
Very well, thank you. And how are you?
Fantastic.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
A financial roadmap. This is something we should be talking about today. Now, when people think about financial planning, they often just think about budgeting. But today we're going to talk about something a bit different. Will you tell us, what a financial roadmap is and why it is important?
Thank you, Leslie. You may appreciate that we are different. Each of us are not the same. We've got different challenges, different life experiences. And therefore, it's very important for every one of us to, when we are on a journey to financial independence or to create wealth for ourselves, it's very important for all of us to reflect and look at our roadmap. And the roadmap is simply a plan that looks at where you are currently and where you plan to be. So that is what a financial roadmap is. I know many people, when talking about finances and planning, they like to think about budgeting. And yes, budgeting is very important, but without establishing the context in which to budget, you are going to be off track. And that's what the financial roadmap tries to help you. Even when it comes to investing, this financial roadmap is very, very critical, because it's going to help you in terms of what kind of investments you should be taking on, what kinds of investments you shouldn't be taking on. And so that's what a financial roadmap is. It's simply a plan that looks at where you are and where you intend to be.
Okay.
Yes.
How do we start making this roadmap?
So how do you start? You start by looking at your current situation, Leslie. As I've said, all of us are different. And even when you take on financial advice, I mean, there are quite a number of programs now on financial management. It's generic advice. But if you've reflected on your roadmap, and what I mean by that is simply looking at where am I currently? So look at your finances. Look at your bank statements. Look at your overall net worth. How much do I have in terms of assets? How much do I have sitting at the bank? How much do I earn in terms of income? So when you look at that and also look at how you spend your money, when you reflect on this, it is going to help you to create a clear road map to where you want to be. So the first thing is establish where you are. And then the second thing is to think about where you want to be. So where am I? Where do I want to be? So for instance, if you are currently sitting maybe at a net worth of 10,000 kwacha, okay, an annual net worth of 10,000 kwacha, you could say, I want to increase my net worth to perhaps 50,000 kwacha. So that gives you a clear roadmap in terms of for me to get from 10,000 to 50,000, what do I need to do? What currently do I have? And what do I need to leverage in terms of other skills and connections and also investments to help get me to 50,000 kwacha? So that is the financial roadmap. It's a clear plan taking you from where you are to where you would like to go. Yes.
Tell us more about this thinking process and what's involved.
So in order for you to create a good financial roadmap for yourself, which actually will help you to succeed when you're even thinking about investing, you need to think about a few questions. And I want us to share just three. The first one is, what does enough money mean for me? So if you're thinking about increasing your net worth maybe to 50,000, the first question you ask yourself is that enough money? And what will enough money look like? It's very important to have a target, because I know I was once asked by somebody, a colleague of mine, and it was, I'm going, how much is enough money? What do you think? And this is a very wealthy man, according to my view. And he's asking me like, so how much do you think is enough money? So I looked at him and I said, well, it actually depends on yourself. So what does enough money mean to me? That's a very important question to think about. What do I want to do with my time in the next few years? What do I enjoy doing? And then what would success look like? If I was to be successful, how would I define that? I mean, because many of us really are under the misconception that success is about having a lot of money, having a lot of cars, but those things don't really apply to everyone. Success might mean something totally different to you. It might mean just doing the job that you love to do and you're happy and successful. And so you need to be able to be clear where you stand on these things, Leslie. So find some time, reflect about these things, and that is going to help even as you take on investment decisions and as you take on advice. You know that, okay, this resonates with me, this doesn't. And I think that's a better way to live rather than just soaking in everything and trying to chase whatever you hear. There's a lucrative deal here, you chase it. There's a lucrative deal here, you chase it. When you have a clear roadmap, certain things would not be attractive to you, even where they are attractive to others. So that's what it's about.
Interesting way to think about it. And I bet many listeners haven't thought about financial planning like this before.
No, not necessarily, Leslie, but what I tend to see from my interaction with a number of people is that a lot of people jump into financial management, building wealth, without really reflecting a lot about this. And for me, I think this is the foundation. We need to start by thinking about, what does success mean to me? Where am I currently? Where would I like to be? And that might be totally different from the Mulengas or the Joneses that live next door to you. That could be totally different.
Now, after we're
Yeah.
done with this thinking, and then taking deep thought into how you intend to make this money, what's next?
So the next thing is, after thinking about where you are, where you want to go, you need to analyze the resources that you currently have. And this is where budgeting comes in. Many of us are familiar with budgeting, though a number of us really loathe budgeting. We don't even want to think about it. But in simple terms, budgeting is just looking at the resources that you have, what you have, and how will you spend it, and how will you invest it. So that's in simple terms what budgeting is. So think about that as well. But I don't want to focus on budgeting today. I would like to focus on other things that are really critical on your financial roadmap, and these are your skills and connections. Because going back to the example I gave, if you're going to move from 10,000 to 50,000 kwacha, you also need certain skills and connections, networks to help you get there. And so think about who is in your network, who is important to you that will help you attain these goals, and your skills as well. What skills do you have? Perhaps you're a good public speaker, or even just a speaker, and you could utilize those skills to make more money. You could be a moderator, you could be invited for speaking events, you could do quite a lot of things. So think about your skills as well. And if you're lacking, there's always a way to improve on those skills. So start improving on those skills so that you can attain the goal that you've created for yourself. So other than just budgeting and thinking about investing, also think about your skills and your connections, because I think they're really, really important.
An important factor most people miss, actually, the skills and connections. But can you give us an example of how these might fit into a money roadmap, skills and connections?
The skills and connections. So if you think about, let's talk about if you're good in fixing cars. I know there are quite a lot of men and sometimes even women. I mean, we're seeing women driving trucks now. So maybe you're good at fixing cars, and it could be a hobby, a part-time hobby, but you could actually turn this skill into a business that could help you attain your financial goal, your overall financial goal, and give you extra income. And you might know a number of people in your community that are struggling with car maintenance or servicing. You could help them in your part time to service their cars, and that can help you to make extra money. In terms of connections, I've always said this, Leslie, one person can actually change your life. Did you know that? You only need one person to change your entire trajectory. I believe that totally. And so who is in your network? Think about that. Who is in your network, and how can they help you shape your career even as you're working? How can they help shape your career? How can they help shape your personal finance management, overall, just your overall life? Who is in your connection? So think about that, or those connections as well.
So
Yeah.
we're looking at basically everything that could affect our money. But what comes after this?
So after you've thought about your current financial situations, your skills, your connections, you also need to set your financial goals. I've mentioned that 50,000 as a target or a goal. Let's look at that as a financial vision statement. How do we turn, for me to attain 50,000, you need to create some kind of financial vision statement, because 50,000 is in the future. Where you start now is with a 10,000. That's the example I gave, right? So for you to get to 50,000, that's in the future. So how do you create a financial vision statement to get you to that 50,000 kwacha? And a vision statement that is also matched with your values and your principles, because oftentimes we think about money without linking them to our values and principles, and I like to live by values and principles. So I can give an example if you like, Leslie. Yeah, so let me give an example of a financial vision statement. So instead of just saying, I would like to be a millionaire in the next 10 years, you could actually think about it related to your principles and your values. Maybe you love farming. You could say, I want to start a small farm that will make me maybe 1 million kwachas in the next 10 years, and that is going to help support my family and even help my community. That is a vision statement that helps you to make money, but also contributes to your community, and also helps you to really just enjoy your life. For me, let me give you my personal financial vision statement. This is why I've done the Ndalama Insights radio program. I would love to be a world-class financial trainer, and I think I'm on track, and I would love my country to benefit in terms of financial literacy. And I've done this program since 2016 using Insight Partners, which is the firm that I founded, to pay for this program so that I can share the financial knowledge to everyone within Zambia, and even across the borders. Now I'm getting interest from countries like Kenya, Tanzania, and others, South Africa. So it's quite interesting. So for me, this is something that I would love to achieve, even as I am on this path to my own personal financial, freedom. And you can also create your own financial vision statement. I think what's important for me is not really about investing in bonds, investing in shares, but how do I do this while also sticking or valuing my principles and my values, and ensuring that I'm living by them. Really, that's what it is.
Now,
Yeah.
these are vision statements. It's like a dream. But how do you then turn these, vision statements into real actions?
That's very nice, Leslie. How do we turn them into actionable, steps? So we've got these actionable insights. How do we turn them into actionable steps? So the first thing is, if you want to maybe start this farm, you need to learn as much about farming as possible. For me, I had to learn as much about personal finance management as much as possible. You really won't believe the things that I discovered. And then find land. If you want to do farming, find land. You cannot farm without land. And then think about, do you want to focus on crops or animals? And then once you choose the strategy, is it crops, is it animals, you can then start maybe cultivating crops. What kind of crops? Buy a small piece of land, start cultivating those crops, and all of that. So it's about being clear about your vision, create small steps in order for you to attain that overall bigger vision. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Mm.
But I'm sure now our listeners will be wondering,
Mhm.
where the investing comes in all this. How does that fit into your financial roadmap? Where is it supposed to be placed?
Investing is about growing your money. So in whatever we do, investing helps us to attain our financial goals. So going back to the example I gave, I want to make 50,000 in the next whatever number of years. If I would like to do that, other than my farming business, the land that I've bought, how else can I invest the money that I'm making from this farm to grow it? So that's when I can buy the bonds, I can buy the treasury bills, I can buy the shares. And for a business, you can even buy other farms, other companies, smaller farms that are around your community, so that you can expand your farming enterprise. And so that is where investing comes in. And that's why I say, when you start with a financial roadmap, you actually be able to know what kind of investments can work with your plan, and that's where it comes in. So that it really fits in really well in terms of when it comes to making financial investments. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I noticed also you talked about, investing in key areas, money, skills. Earlier on, you talked about relationships, how one person can basically change
Mm-hmm.
your entire trajectory. But let's look at those three now, specifically: money, skills, and relationships.
Let's say skills means improving your capabilities, or your acquiring knowledge so that you become a better person in the area you are specialized in. And this might mean you going back to school, maybe acquiring a master's degree if that is what you like, learning new skills. Maybe nowadays we've got artificial intelligence. If I want to be a better employee, how can I utilize tools such as ChatGPT to improve my work? And also getting certifications in areas that you're lacking. These are the skills. So in as much as we talk about investing in stocks and bonds and all of that, if your skills are weak, I actually recommend you start by strengthening your skills. Strengthen your skills as much as possible. Because if you are a value to the community, money always will follow you no matter what. And it doesn't matter who's against you, guys. If you are valuable, money will always follow you. It does not matter who's against you, who says they're going to stop you. Nobody's going to stop you if you have the skills. Then the second one is the relationships and the connections. So the relationships and the connections are very critical. As I've said, one person can actually change your life. What does the connection do for you? The connection I'm hoping you're going to build is somebody who's already, done what you want to do, can create a path to where what we want to go, or connections, or link you to where you want to go, and also can provide mentorship for you. So those are the kinds of connections you should be aiming to have. Yeah.
Relationships. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I believe in business. I think relationship building is one of, if not the most important one.
Yeah.
It kind of beats everything else, doesn't it? Like if you have the right network, you have the right relationships, you learn how to work with people. Because business is all about working with people. Really.
Yes. It's everything in life really depends on managing our relationships, Leslie. And if you can build the right relationships, that's really, really important. So it's hard. It's not easy, but it's something you need to work on.
Very interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Now, how often should people check and adjust their financial roadmap? Is it something set in stone, or is it something that's constantly evolving?
It's certainly not set in stone. Leslie, I can tell you, I've got a folder that I created. I think it was in 2013, 2014 when I was starting my company. You see, I really sat down and did a deep reflection, and that folder is still in my house. This is like 10 years later, right? When you start with a plan, it's not set in stone. You regularly need to go back and review it. Things are always changing. Like look at now, inflation is not the same all the time. The currency kwacha is not the same all the time. It's not stable. So many factors change regularly, and even your financial plan has to adapt to those changes. So you could do a monthly quick progress review. You could do a 3-month review to look at any changes that need to be made. You could do an annual review to even review your entire plan, whether to see whether you're on track to getting where you want to go. It's like a roadmap, really, Leslie. Is like, I want to go to Livingstone, right? And then as you're going to Livingstone, you are facing obstacles. Maybe there's a roadblock, or they're building a road going to Livingstone, and then they've created a detour for you to use to get to Livingstone. You're not going to say, this is the road that I know, I just need to use this road. You have to use the detour that they've created for you to get to Livingstone. And so as you are on this financial road, you will face obstacles, and you should be adaptable. If you're not adaptable, it's like I said with AI. No matter what you say, AI is here to stay. You need to utilize it. And if you can utilize it, then you should not be worried about whether it's going to replace you or not. And even if there's a risk that your job could be replaced, you could look at other things that you can do to utilize AI. So it's the same thing even with this financial roadmap. Review it regularly so that you can be on track to achieving your goals.
It constantly changes, and there's nothing wrong with it changing.
No, that's life.
I know it's worrying sometimes. You try this, and then somewhere in the middle you switch lanes, and you decide to try this, and then somewhere in the middle you switch lanes. You try this. Should you be worried if that's how you're living your life?
No, you shouldn't, Leslie. When I was just starting Inside Partners, I used to go out in the field, and I went to this company where I was talking about a budgeting workshop, and I was advertising this budgeting workshop, and this man was really, really upset with me. I don't know why. So like, why should I budget when the economy is always changing? Da, 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 da. So I looked at him and said, but that is the reason why you need to budget.
Because of the changes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I always say the best example I give is trade things who do everything you can think of in this world.
Yeah.
They do everything. You want to
Yeah.
Whatever you can think of, so long as it's manufacturing, they will do it.
Yeah.
And that gives you an idea of what.
And they make a lot of noise about it. Just look at the noise they made when they bought that Vatra.
And this is a typical example. That's how it should be when you're thinking about business and anything to do with wealth creation. But Konki, thank you very much. We've run out of time, unfortunately, but thank you very much for coming to the show.
Thank you, and fantastic listening to everyone that was online, Stephen Banda, and everybody else on radio. Thank you so much, and have a good morning.
You have been listening to Dalama Insights Business Show, brought to you by